All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're looking at a huge paradox right at the heart of healthcare. You've got this massive flood of investment pouring into potentially life-saving AI, but at the exact same time, there's a rising tide of regulation that could stop it all cold. It's this classic battle, right? Innovation versus safety, and it's playing out right now in state houses and boardrooms all across the country.
Okay, let's start with this quote from Jess Jessup, because honestly, it just perfectly captures the tension we're talking about today. This isn't some far-off, hypothetical problem. It's a real-world dilemma where incredible, game-changing potential is slamming up against a wall of practical, legal, and safety challenges. And believe me, the entire future of health AI is being forged in the fire of this conflict.
So first up, let's look at the push side of this whole equation. I'm talking about the incredible momentum that's driving this technology forward. Make no mistake, we are in the middle of a full-blown gold rush for AI in healthcare. And the numbers? Well, they're absolutely staggering.
Just look at that number for a second. $36.6 billion. That's the new market cap added by just 6 health AI companies that went public in the last 2 years. That's it, 6 companies. This isn't just speculation anymore. This is a massive structural shift happening in the market. The whole conversation has gone from, hey, will this AI stuff even work, to, okay, who's going to own the entire workflow? It's a totally different game now.
And this chart really drives the point home. According to a recent JP Morgan report, AI-focused deals now make up a whopping 3/4 of all funding in health technology. The money is just pouring in, the tech is developing at lightning speed, and the market is absolutely white hot. But that's only half the story.
So now we got to talk about the other side. You know how it is. For every action, there's a reaction. And in this case, the explosive growth of health AI is being met by this incredibly powerful counterforce. And it's all driven by some very serious concerns about safety and a real lack of oversight. And this number one is a very, very big deal. ECRI, that's the Emergency Care Research Institute, one of the most respected safety organizations in the world. They just named the misuse of AI chatbots as the #1 health technology hazard for 2026. Think about that. Not an emerging risk, not somewhere in the top 10, the single greatest hazard. That gets your attention, right? And this is why. ECRI's concerns are absolutely fundamental. As you can see here, these tools often aren't regulated like your typical medical devices, and a lot of them haven't been validated for actual clinical use. This creates huge risks for clients, Everything from missed or just plain wrong diagnoses to dangerous biases baked right into the training data that could totally fail minorities or people with complex conditions. These are not small problems, and this is exactly what's pushing state legislatures to finally step in and act.
So how are states responding? Well, just take a look at these 2 recent bills. It's a tale of 2 different approaches. On one side, you've got Tennessee, which passed a bill with a unanimous vote to draw a really clear, bright line. An AI cannot call itself a therapist. Period. It's clean, it's targeted, it's all about impersonation. Then, on the other hand, you have Idaho, which went way broader. They passed a comprehensive safety act that requires you to be told when you're talking to an AI, it mandates crisis protocols for suicidal ideation, and it even adds specific protections for minors. So you've got 2 different states, 2 very different approaches, but one crystal clear message. The Wild West era of zero regulation is over.
Now, this whole push and pull dynamic, it's not just some abstract policy debate. It has very real consequences for the innovators who are out there on the front lines. And to really understand that, we need to look at the cautionary tale of a company called Kintsugi. Okay, so Kintsugi had developed some truly mind-blowing technology. Their AI could analyze how a person speaks, not what they're saying, but the actual patterns in their voice. And from just a 20-second clip of speech, it could detect signs of depression and anxiety. And here's the crucial part, it worked. This wasn't just a cool idea, it was confirmed by peer-reviewed studies the tech was solid. But just look at what happened. Despite having this incredible, clinically validated tech, the company ran straight into a brick wall with the FDA. The regulatory pathway was just too long and way too expensive for a venture-backed startup to survive. So the funding dried up and they had to shut down their commercial operations. In a really final, generous move, they open-sourced their models for researchers to use. But the lesson here is just brutal. Even proven, valuable innovation can be killed by the cost of regulation.
The story of Kintsugi, and what we're seeing in Tennessee and Idaho, well, that's not happening in a vacuum. This dynamic is playing out all over the country right now, as states are rushing to fill the void left by federal inaction. The race to write the rules for AI is officially on.
And the momentum is it's undeniable. We're seeing bills move forward in Georgia, Colorado, Arizona, South Carolina, Nebraska. I mean, this isn't some regional trend. It's a nationwide legislative wave. And each state is taking a slightly different crack at it, creating this patchwork of rules that companies are going to have to navigate. This is the new reality for anyone building in the health AI space.
So we end up right back where we started. On one side, you have this world-changing technology and a flood of investment ready to go. On the other, you have these urgent, totally legitimate safety concerns and a flurry of new laws popping up. It's a clash that is going to define the next decade of healthcare. Which brings us to the final, critical question. In this race to define the future of health AI, who's ultimately going to be holding the pen? The innovators building the tech or the regulators writing the rules?